So we're back on Fox 10 Talks. I'm Ashlie Rodriguez here with Brian Webb. Happy Sunday, everyone. Christmas right around the corner.
Yeah, I know, right? Like scary close.
Yeah.
I need to, I still have one important gift to buy. Mom, cannot leave Mom
What are you going to
hanging.
get her?
She has a store. She briefly lived with me last year on her transition from one state to another. And she has this little store she loves. I don't know, I kind of know her taste. So I'm kind of on the crossroads. Do I kind of send her a picture? Do you like this? Because, I'm going to have to take it there, and then if she doesn't like it, take it back, all that jazz. So I'm going to try to figure that out tomorrow. That's my big goal for tomorrow.
Nice. Yeah. I have a big family, and my sisters are. Am I on the mic, by the way?
Can you hear her, Ashlie Gomez?
1, 2, 3.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. And my sisters are starting to have kids. So it's just like, wow, man, Christmas is
Fun though, right?
expensive.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. How many kids do you have to take care of?
So I have 2 nephews now. I have 3 sisters, 2 parents. So people with big families, Christmas is always very interesting. I always feel like we should come up with some kind of like white elephant. The bigger and bigger this family gets.
Do the adults still exchange gifts, or do you just focus on the kids? Maybe that's a thought.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I started to kind of pivot towards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We mainly do the kids. I don't give to my brother or his wife, which is who I will be staying with. But to my mom, gotta take care of mom.
Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, everyone. Happy Kwanzaa.
Good stuff. So wrapping up AmericaFest today, big deal down at the Phoenix Convention Center. You may have seen the big airplane, Air Force Two, arriving this morning.
Yeah.
Vice President JD Vance, the keynote speaker, I guess you could say. It happened this morning, but I guess that was pretty much the wrap up, right? He was the end of it all.
He's no stranger to Phoenix. He has been out here quite a bit. But yes, this was a big endorsement for him. Obviously, TPUSA has quite a large following. A lot of money can be raised through this nonprofit. And Erica Kirk gets up there and right away says, we're endorsing him for 2028. And I was listening to some people talk about it, people who were attending the convention this weekend. And some people were on board. He has a lot of fans, especially, he has some younger male fans. Other people that attended the convention, though, were kind of shocked by that endorsement because we're still 3 years away.
25, last I checked.
And you had some comments saying we should probably just focus on this Trump presidency right now. And then you had other people saying, I have other cats in the Republican Party that I'd like to see get the nomination. So that is a big endorsement for him. And I think Republicans are kind of split on, her endorsing someone so early. That's not even a candidate.
Right.
He hasn't even announced his candidacy.
Good point. You have to think the VP is usually going to be the early front runner anyway, in any given time. But yeah, it's pretty early. But then haven't we always hasn't it seemed lately that there's very little break between elections? They're such sport now. They're such a big deal that there's almost no break from one election to the other. And now they're looking 2+ years in advance, and we're just always in the election cycle.
And it's odd that, she wouldn't talk about Trump, especially such a large Republican organization, that she would shift focus from Trump, who loves attention.
Didn't mention him at all? As far as
No, she mentioned him, but like the endorsement of JD Vance, when it just seems a little on his heels, on Trump's heels. The other thing about this is it is being described as chaotic. This was a very interesting convention. I mean, you have to remember, Charlie Kirk just was assassinated. So you would think that there'd be like a more somber tone. She's in a glitter suit here with the fireworks. They have a booth where it recreates
That's crazy.
His assassination.
Crazy, right?
And you
a
can
too soon.
You can take pictures in
if
it.
at all ever.
In what looks like there is a picture of it. This posted on Twitter. Or I should say X.
Wow.
And people are getting their selfies in what looks like the makeshift place where he was murdered. And then you have a lot of Republican infighting happening. Ben Shapiro taking the stage, going after people who are questioning his assassination, because that has become quite the narrative amongst Kirk's fans and just across the nation. A lot of people have a lot of questions about the validity of Tyler Robinson actually being the shooter. And then he's followed by Tucker Carlson, who then takes aim at Ben Shapiro, and Megyn Kelly's taking aim. Steve Bannon got up there and called him a cancer. And this is like, usually with Republican conventions, they're unifying to go after the enemy, which is the Democrats.
Hardly mentioned, right?
Yeah, it was a lot of infighting after Kirk's death. And
then there was the Vivek Ramaswamy. Am I saying it right?
Vivek Ramaswamy.
Ramaswamy, excuse me. Didn't he go after the thought of the heritage Americans? Like that's a mistake to not, at some level, welcome newer Americans. That was a divide. He spoke about that earlier in the week, so that was a big deal. Ashlie Gomez, do you mind pulling up the booth one more time? I was going to ask your opinion, Ashlie, on what do you think of the banner there? That always kind of struck me as a little provocative. Like, why couldn't he have, the banner said, let's chat, let's debate, instead of prove me wrong?
That was just Charlie Kirk's. That was his statement. That's, he'd say his piece, and then he'd open the floor up and say, prove me wrong, and he would allow people free speech, and that was what made
he would let them talk. Because I've seen a few give and takes where he cut them off.
Well, yeah, he could be combative.
Yeah,
but he was all about the free speech. And what's happening also is, people are saying, Charlie Kirk built this based on free speech, and yet when you have a certain segment of Republicans starting to question the support, blind support of Israel, that's anti-Semitism. We can't talk about that. So that was also an issue that continuously came up this weekend, where you have a lot of people confronting others. Are you America first, or are you Israel first? Because I think the Republican Party has usually been in the camp of we're supporting Israel. But as of late, people don't want to go to war anymore. They don't want to just send taxpayer dollars overseas in billions of dollars. And they're trying to, pivot MAGA to be make America great again by putting America first, and let's get out of these foreign wars.
Not send our young men and women into harm's way.
And then you have other Republicans that say supporting Israel is supporting America overseas, and to criticize Israel is verging on anti-Semitism.
To be fair, that's going on in the Democratic Party too, somewhat. It's just they're just not in the spotlight right now, right?
It actually sounds like a more Democratic Party issue, right? This is the first time the Republican Party is kind of bringing this up and discussing this.
I think, Ashlie Gomez, don't we have a soundbite from JD Vance? Should we play that? See what he said earlier today.
Now, I want to close, my friends, but I have heard you. I know that some of you are impatient at the pace of progress, and my response to that is good. Be impatient. Use that desire for justice for your country as fuel to get involved in this movement in a bigger and better and more powerful way.
I don't know what that means. I don't know what he means by that, but maybe he means donating money to TPS USA, who's raised quite a bit of money since the death of Charlie Kirk.
For sure. So I guess that wrapped up a week of lots of going on out there, and we'll see where it goes from there. I mean, it's going to be an interesting
2026.
The midterms, that's going to be very interesting. See where that goes.
Yeah.
If people like where we're going or want to make a pivot, we'll see.
Yeah. Noticeably absent from TPUSA was any mention of Epstein, the Epstein files. So, we'll see what happens with the midterms, because I know a lot of Republicans are not happy with the performance of this Trump administration on that promise, that campaign promise.
And we reported last night, 16 files, including at least one with a picture of President Trump, were suddenly disappeared.
Which Congressman Ro Khanna is saying that is criminal. If Pam Bondi deleted those files purposely, that she will be held accountable for that. They're going to need the votes to get that. They're going to need Republicans to vote in favor of holding Pam Bondi accountable, but they are already kind of floating impeachment for DOJ officials.
But I wonder about that too. Congress passed a law to release those files, right? So has that become a criminal versus a Congress thing moving forward? Like, did law enforcement get involved?
That is law enforcement. DOJ is law enforcement. So
you're saying they need the votes to do anything about it?
Yeah.
DOJ doesn't need votes.
No, Congress would need the votes to force the issue, but the DOJ is definitely not going to force its head to.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And Nicki Minaj was there, so she had been critical of President Trump in the past. I guess we were talking earlier about immigration issues. That was back then, and this is now.
Sometimes, even in the worst feeling times in your life, you think that you're never going to come back from it. But you do. And our president shows that. He's been through every single thing a person could be through publicly.
Yeah, that was a surprise guest. I think a lot of Nicki Minaj fans, they're called the Barbs, like Barbies. I think they are in shock. She has recently skewed more and more right-leaning. She's come out and supported Trump. But to show up at this convention it seems like she's out of place. I think people are confused by this. The people in the crowd are not her fans. So I think they're just trying to get, that pop culture, that the eyeballs on it, and kudos to them, they got it. But I don't know if anybody wanted to hear Nicki Minaj's take on politics, but
yeah, surprise to me. But
whatever sells and raises money,
right? And Erica Kirk told her it's okay to change your mind. So give her a little boost there, and off they go. Okay, cool. Well.
It's just incredible. It's just incredible to see her recovery as a grieving widow. I think a lot of widows who lost their husband and the father of children would probably have a hard time getting out of bed. I think the internet is aflame with just the wow. She's in a glitter suit, her hair done, her makeup, and this has got to be her 4th or 5th TV appearance. We have yet to see her with her kids. It's quite the recovery.
And
we
to be
wish
fair,
her
I bet
well.
there are people who feel like, well, she had to take the reins of Turning Point USA, and she stood up and did it, I bet.
Although that's not exactly what Charlie Kirk espoused while he was alive. He said that women, had a very important place at home, raising children, being mothers, and creating strong families for this country. But now she is wearing the pants.
Well, like she said, it's okay to change your mind.
It's okay to change your mind after just a couple of weeks.
Good to
after
know.
your
I'm going
husband's
to keep
death.
that in my back pocket in case I ever change my mind and you call me out on it.
Yeah,
hey.
exactly.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to talk about the winter solstice from a actual rocket scientist coming up. Hey, welcome back, Fox 10 Talks. Me and Ashlie back with you on a Sunday afternoon. We're going to be joined here in a second by an actual rocket scientist with like as far opposite of me as you can get. I still don't get how a plane gets off the ground.
Yeah.
But we're going to find out about the winter solstice from Kevin DeBruin. Kevin, are you with us? And tell us what you got.
I am. Hello. Good afternoon. I am here to talk about something that I think we can all get on board with, the days getting longer, more daylight, getting away from these 5:30 p.m. sunsets and creating longer days. So that is what the winter solstice marks, is we have already had our longest night. Now we are getting shorter nights, longer days, and longer days. Now that comes from our Earth being tilted at 23.5 degrees, and that's what causes our seasons. So as the Earth goes around the sun, when it's winter, the part facing away from the sun or pointing away from the sun, that's when it's winter. But when we then shift and start tilting toward the sun, that's where we get our summer. Now, why is Earth tilted, right? You think like maybe it should be just straight up and down. Well, about 4.5 billion years ago, a Mars-sized object we call Theia came and impacted Earth. And 4.5 billion years ago, it was a molten Earth. Our solar system was just forming. So a lot of that molten Earth shot off into space. And over about a few billion years, it all coalesced to form our moon. So that's how our moon came to be. And that impact is what knocked Earth on its 23.5 degree tilt. So as it's going around the sun, that is what gave us our seasons. Same reason that we have seasons is the same reason we have our moon. Giant impact of 4.5 billion years ago.
So this winter specifically, I have been just like, man, I wish we were still back in like agrarian days, because the days were getting darker faster, and my energy just plummeted. And I don't know about you, but I just want to hibernate. Like, I feel like less motivated. I feel like we should all just stay inside and eat.
Sounds good to me.
I'm so glad that the days are staying brighter longer, because my energy goes up with it.
Fair enough. Kevin?
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. So back before all the ages of technology, we would just run on the circadian rhythm. The sunlight told us when to wake up and when to go to bed. So it is in our nature to want to do that. If we look out in nature, what are our animals doing? You use the specific word, hibernate, right? To make it through the winter to then get back to the summer. It is rooted in science, what you're experiencing.
It just feels
it's a real
much
thing.
more natural.
Not so sure about the agrarian thing, though. That sounds like a lot of work.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, once you harvest, you can chill.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah.
Kevin, let me ask. Go ahead, Kevin.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, just a quick demo. If we use this flashlight as the sun and we put it on a piece of paper, what we see here is if it is straight up and down, no tilt at all. And then if I'm tilting away, you see that the light gets less intense at the top, right? So as you were saying, you feel less energy. It's not a one-to-one, but we do have less solar energy, less sunlight, less energy from the sun coming on Earth. So overall, we have the lower amount of energy. And then when we're coming towards the sun, the energy intensity increases. And it's just because of that tilt. So we can blame Theia for why we feel so depressed or sad or so tired for 6 months out of the year.
On that note, Kevin, can I ask you, I think I've read or heard somewhere along the way that because the moon's gravitational pull may have slowed down the spin of the Earth, which may have led to life getting a fair shot here. Is there truth to that?
There is truth to that. The Earth used to spin very, very fast, and the moon was actually closer to Earth when it was first formed. So it is very, very slowly moving away. I think we're at maybe 1 centimeter a year, which is a very minuscule amount when you're thinking about astronomical distances, hundreds of millions of miles. But Earth was spinning super fast, and then it slowed it down so that we were able to have different types of solar fluxes on Earth, right? It created a better equilibrium and consistency for life to then thrive.
I know you're a rocket scientist. This might not be your field, but I know a lot of cultures around the world celebrate solstices. It's significant for some reason or other. I know the autumnal equinox, that's right around Halloween, and supposedly the veil gets really thin, and that's why, you can maybe get spirits to come through. Do you know anything about the winter solstice culturally, and if it's significant for some reason, I guess spiritually to us?
Yeah, it's kind of a sign of signifying rebirth, right? So now we're coming out of the darkness and into the light. With the autumnal equinox, like you're talking about with the spirits, we're entering into the darkness. The days are starting to get shorter. Our nights are getting longer. So what we're celebrating with the winter solstice is life, rebirth, rejuvenation, new things. Spring is going to be coming. Summer is going to be coming. We're getting out of the darkness. So it's
I love
the
that.
happier one of the solstices, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm ready for 2026.
And I assume there have been studies that show that the sunlight really does give us some energy
Yeah.
at some level, right? Just being out in the sun is good for us.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you look at plants, it's photosynthesis. You know, humans, we also need vitamin D. We need that sunshine. We need that resource to give us our life, right? Like, one of the things that we can do is we can get special lamps. So like I have a light behind me because you can see it's already dark out here. You know, having bright lights in the morning to help with that circadian rhythm to wake us up and then to keep us up longer. So when it's getting dark outside and you're feeling tired, you can have a special lamp to make it seem like daylight, even though it doesn't look like it outside.
Yeah, seasonal affective disorder is a real thing. I am so glad that we are getting out of the darkness.
And are you kind of glad Arizona doesn't mess with the clocks? I mean, so much of the rest of the country still does, and it just seems like, really? I mean, it's now that I live here, I think, yeah, that's crazy to mess with your clocks twice a year.
Yeah, what do you think about that? Should we get rid of daylight savings time?
100%.
Oh, there we go.
I am fully on board with that. I thought we were totally getting rid of it. I must have fallen off where it was going through like the House and the Senate. I thought we were doing something with that. So how do we get that back to take it away?
There you go.
I want to be like you. Like I haven't lived in a area of the country that doesn't do daylight savings time, and I'm a little jealous of you.
Endorsement from a rocket scientist. I mean, come on, what more do you want?
I know, right?
Kevin, can I ask you about a little bit? So I'm afraid to ask this question to show how non-scientist I am, but so that we get to the hottest point of summer, that is when the sun, is there a lag effect, or that's when the sun is most directly pointed at our part of the world?
Most directly pointed at our part of the world. So where are we here? Okay, so we got North America, we've got Arizona right here. So if we do the tilt, I'm going to tilt it toward you. So in space, the Earth is always tilted the same way. So if this is the sun, it's always like this. So here would be fall, and then now we're on this side. Since we're pointed away from the sun, we'd be winter, spring, and then summer because we're tilted towards the sun. The sunlight takes 8 minutes to reach Earth. It's traveling at 300,000 meters per second, kilometers per second, or 186,000 miles per second. Because it's that far away, 93 million miles, so 8 minutes. So right when it does come across at the closest point, there is no lag. The lag is 8 minutes. So there is no lag in terms of the heat coming into Earth.
Why does the sun hate Arizona so much in the summer? I mean, come on. That's a little much. A little much.
You can't blame the sun on that one. We're going to have to blame those states to your west over here, creating and stealing all that moisture in your desert-like environment.
Another reason to take on California, I'm hearing. Huh?
Okay, I have a weird question.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, so in the day, sometimes we can still see the moon, but at night, only the moon is illuminated. But like, shouldn't the sky also be illuminated too?
Great question. Not a weird question.
Way to go.
These are...
Way to go, Ashlie.
Well, I don't think the moon is real, so no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
All right. So we've got our moon orbiting Earth. So the moon orbits Earth about every 29 days. So it's going around. It's not in just one fixed spot where it's like opposite of the sun. You can't think of it as opposite of the sun. We think of it like that because it's the only thing, the brightest thing we can see at night. But the only time it's not in the night sky is when there's a new moon. And that means it's in its point in the orbit of which it's on the same side of the Earth as the sun. So if you're the sun and the moon is over here, you're not going to see it at night because the side facing me, which is Asia, is at nighttime right now. So they don't see the sun and they can't see the moon. But here in America, that we're seeing on this side where, got to spin this way.
Yeah.
You're seeing the sun and the moon. But then as it turns, so the Earth spins faster, eventually it then comes on the side where we can see the moon in the back and not see the sun where you are. So I have the United States pointed towards me. Right there, it's pointed towards me so we can see the sun, or we see the moon, which is illuminated by the sun coming over this way.
Yeah, I think we
Sun
forget
illuminates that.
that the Earth goes around, but also spins too. Like
There's a lot going on
there's a
up there.
lot going
And
on.
Kevin,
So you got the tilt, the spin, and then it's also going around.
That's
Yeah.
just
And the one
insane.
thing that you also can wrap your head around is as we're spinning and going around, we're also moving at like 10,000 miles per hour through the universe.
Jeez, I'm
So
dizzy.
The solar system isn't static. It is moving in the Milky Way. The Milky Way is a spiral galaxy. It's got these long arms coming out of it, and that's where we are. We're at one of the arms. So we're still spinning around the Milky Way, and then the Milky Way is spinning around the observable universe.
whoa,
So there's a whole lot of movement going on out there.
I'm dizzy. Kevin, you know what else is kind of quirky about the moon to me that I think kind of goes along with your point is that not only is it the perfect size right now, correct me if I'm wrong, to block out the sun during a total eclipse, but also spins it exactly the right way, right? That we never see the dark side of the moon. It's always the same side of the moon that we see. Two kind of strange coincidences there.
Mostly correct. So sometimes the moon is the exact size of the sun. Sometimes it's not. So the moon doesn't go, I'm going to go this way if we're looking top down, it doesn't go in a perfect circle around Earth. It goes in an elongated oval or an ellipse. So there are only certain points in the orbit in which it is the exact same size as the sun in our sky. So when it's really close to us, the closest point the moon is in its orbit, we call that perigee. And then when it's at its furthest point, it's called apogee. So there's a specific point in which in its orbit it does match the size of the sun, and that's where we happen to get those total solar eclipses. So we do have eclipses where the moon goes over the whole sun, but you see a halo effect. So the sunlight is shining behind the moon. Let's see if I can create it here. Maybe not because my flashlight's not big enough.
Yeah, I get it.
I can't do it because the flashlight's not big enough, but the moon would then appear just smaller than the sun, and it would be right in the center, so you see the halo right around it. It's a good question, though.
Is there any concern for solar flares, solar storms? Just before, we only have about, I don't know, 45
30, yeah,
seconds,
yeah.
but that's something is that something in our future that we should be worried not just about dust storms and fires and tornadoes, but also solar storms?
Potentially, yeah. So they do have the ability to disrupt communication networks or specific, like, I don't remember what year it was. It was way before I was born, but there was a solar flare that mimicked this response of what a nuclear launch was like. And the United States detected it thinking it was Russia until a scientist was like, no, this is a solar flare. So eventually we may have to take a lot more precautions when we're doing with space-based communication and space-based